Let us continue with our lecture, and today we are going to learn about the range operator in RxJava. And also we'll go and see how to refactor our code, because if you take a look on this code is quite verbose. We don't have to actually go and write all of this implementation. We can refactor it using the lambda expression. So this is our verbose code, and we will try to refactor it using the lambda expression. And the another thing that we'll learn is about the range operator. So let's go and create the another function below over here, and I'll just call it the function range operator, range operator. And this should return type, we want to do some return type is of the observable, observable. So we want to return type is observable, and the type, later we will see what type we want to return first. And then I want to return over here is the observable, and let's make use of a range. So this is the observable of range, and if you go to the implementation of this range, you can see we need to pass the two arguments over here. One is start and the count. And what does it says about the start is the value of the first integer in sequence. So value of the first, the integer we need to pass, the integer is the sequence. So let's say a 0 or 1, which is the starting point, and the count, the number of sequential integer to generate, and how many sequential you want to generate is a count. And it returns the observable that emits a sequence of integer with a specific range, specified range. So it will return or the image value in the sequence of the range that we provide. So let's go back, and the return type we just saw is of the int, so we will say a integer return type. And then the starting point we will give as from, we want to start from, let's say 1, and the range that we want to generate, let's say I'll just give of a 10, the count of a 10. And let's go back and to our main activity over here. Now we need to implement it over here. So we are just creating the observable, we are just returning an observable over here. On the previous function we created the observable, and we created the observer, and we subscribed to that observable over here. And that's all, we did everything inside this function, but now we are just returning an observable from here. So that's our main difference. And I will go to over here, and now I'll just say over here, what is the function name is the range operator, right? Range operator dot, then I will subscribe it. So you can see that on next is also available over here. So I'll just subscribe to this one, and inside this I'll use a lambda expression. So I'll just give a curly brace over here. This is the int value that we are receiving, and the next curly brace we say we receive a throwable, which is of on error, and on finally we can make use of this is on complete. So same thing that we have refactored the code quite less, because we don't have to write all of this boilerplate code anymore. So we have skip this one, we have on next, we have on error, and we have on complete. So just copy the code from here, and I will just paste it over here. I need to remove this one, so the tag, and on next I have the int value. So this is not t, it should be of the it, because we are getting a value. And the throwable, I can just copy the code from here too, right? Just copy this one and paste it over here, and I can remove this one too. And on error is it, we are receiving as a it, and I have to pass it as a it dot to a string, and I can remove, I think that's one too. And then we have on complete, so I will just copy this one too and paste it over here. Now I can remove this one. So now we have certain that code. If you take a look, the difference over here. So we have implemented everything over here, and we just return our observable over here, and we implemented it over here. We subscribe it, and when we subscribe it, we have all of the function available for us. This is a lambda shorthand we can make use, and this makes a code much more verbose, and I think much more readable. We can do the same thing on the same function, but you can also go and do the same thing over here in this function. But we want to return the observable. I just want to show you how we can do many things, right, in a different ways. So I am returning an observable. Don't get confused over here. So don't get confused over here, right? So first we are doing the everything on this function, but now we are returning an observable. This is the observable, and then we have subscribe it. So we go over here and we subscribe it over here. Because this function is returning an observable, then we subscribe it and we implement the function over here. So all of the member function that we have, we implement over here. So make sure don't get confused over here, right? So you may be a bit confused at the first time, but if you try it and try to understand it clearly, what we did, we created an observable over here, and we created an observable over here, and then we subscribe to the observable in the same function. We did everything inside. But here we just created an observable and return that observable here, right? We just return it, and then to the observable we have to subscribe it and pass the observable, right? So we have created an observable, then we subscribe it and we pass the observable over here. And we did the same thing. We got that the observable and we subscribe it, and we created or implemented the all of the member function using the lambda expression. That's it. So I hope you got it, and let me try to run this one and let's see our range. Don't forget about the range that we are actually implementing. So if you go over here, we see the 1 to the 10, and we got incomplete at the end. So it's coming up here, right, on next from 1 to 10. And if we change the value, let's say I want to where is that our observable here, let's say we change from 1 to 100, and if you run it, we should get that 1 to 100. Yeah, if you go over here, you see that we starting point is of 1, right, and ending point is of the 100. So if you go over here, yeah, ending point is of count of 100. That's it, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll meet up in the next lecture, and till then, have a great day.